Good day to you. Many schools have asked for a talk for kids and maybe parents during this COVID time for the use of the digital screen because so much online studies have to be done. How to be safe and wise while using the digital screen. First thing I have to tell parents is kids will follow you. So though you may have stretched time on your hands, you have to keep a strict watch on your digital screen. So why is the issue current? Now the context now is that children have to be on online studies for a long time. First tip is use a non-smart screen. Much as possible, don't use your smartphone, tab or iPad. Please use a traditional laptop, which means on the traditional laptop, which is not the smart screen laptop, the other laptop, the old-fashioned one, the LCD is in front of the LED. Much of the ill effects of the pixel screen on the child's retina and therefore on the child's brain cells, the neurochemistry, as well as the neuronal behavior, that brings an effect on their character, curricular studies, and their sleep. Immediate effect is on their sleep, on their mood, on their appetite, and so on, and even their memory. How much of they study, how much will they retain it is important. Also, how will they study? Will they be entertained by the pixels of the screen, or will it go to their resting memory? So when you're on the screen, your brain's RAM memory is working, to put it lightly. But we need to get our children's studies into their stored memory. Got it? So here are the things that we will quickly run through. I have to mention some things that are relevant for theory so that parents may understand and even kids may come on board that this talk is not to get parents to make it easy for keep kids under control. This talk is really for kids' sake, that young people, whether they are 10 years old or whether they are 20 years old, will understand this is for their own good. I am Dr. Lalith Mendis. My last substantive post was as head of Department of Pharmacology in a state medical faculty, and I have done digital screen lectures and have presented an academic paper to the Sri Lanka Medical Association last year on the effects of the pixel screen on the child's curriculum, character, behavior, and so on. So let's start. We operate, so I gave you the first tip. Get onto a non-smart screen. Or laptop, desktop is better than the smartphone because our retina's PPI, or rather retinal concentration in our retina, the concentration of rods and cones is 247 per inch. That's why some time ago when the pixel screen became more pixel concentrate, we said we passed the retinal limit. So now S10 may be something like 1000 PPI, that is pixels per inch, which means we are bombarding a child's or our own retina 4 times the rate of what the retina can take in. Retina can take in impulses at the rate of 247 per inch. Now we are used to looking at so much more pixel strength. So 4000K or 8000K TV screen is actually a disaster on the child's studying ability. For thrill and entertainment, for the moment, it is wonderful, the picture acuity and so on. But on the brain, the effect is not good at all. Less pixel strong the screen, the better it is for memory and for sleep. Memory meaning for a child to remember what the child studies. And then please don't give the pixel screen at feed time. So even when they are on online studies, keep their feed time separate. So what's the law? Feed time, food time, no pixel screen. Why? Whatever we do at food time, it becomes an unstoppable habit. So online studies or not, no pixel screen during the feed time. So you have to wean off children from this pixel screen for feed time. So you have to tell them, please, we have got expert advice, because what you do at feed time is the thing that becomes long-term habit. Habits are formed before the age of 5. One more thing, with or without online studies, before the age of 3, no screen time. That's a recommendation of the American Pediatric Association. Please stick to it. No pixel screen at all before the age of 3. So do children get screen smart? I have a book on, this is the book I'm going to refer to, Let's Be Screen Smart. Saw this? Yeah. Let's Be Screen Smart. The myth and the truth about it. So before the age of 3, if you give the child the screen, their language will scramble. So most of the language problems that have arisen with children, the speech defects, are the result of too much screen before the age of 3. It is done, proved, and this is a recommendation of the American Pediatrics Association. Few more things. Now schools must think about it. If you can do a 25-minute class and release the child for 10 minutes, that would be good, because after 25 minutes of looking at the pixel screen all the time, continuous looking at the pixel screen will affect the child's neuronal behavior and the neurochemistry. Now you will quickly ask me, what is the neuronal behavior? The neurochemistry is that we are supposed to do our work in 1 hour cycles. Of course, for children it is much less. Say before the age of 5, a child can concentrate only 20 minutes. By the age of 10, the child may concentrate for about 30 minutes, but actually it's at age 12, beyond age 12, that the child can concentrate for 40 minutes or more. So the idea is, let's take the child who can concentrate for 40 minutes or more. The first part, 2/3 of the cycle, that is for about 40 minutes max, we work on dopamine, and that's called the default mode network of study or thought or conceptualization. We work on dopamine, and the dopamine must come down. Then serotonin takes over. Dopamine works for salience, serotonin takes over for satiety, meaning serotonin gives a check back. Did I study it well? Have I got to study again? How is it what I did? So obviously the serotonin check back becomes a character trait of checking back on what I did. Now if you can get the school, so that is it. So when you are on the screen, now that is our normal study. When you are on the screen for 25 minutes, then what happens is the dopamine begins to go up and is not getting ready to come down to give way to the serotonin to work and do the check back, put it, how have I got to do it again, how did I do it? Moment you put the child on the screen for more than 25 minutes and dopamine is working, he will want to only do that. He doesn't do check back, he wants to do the same thing again and again. That's why even after 3 hours you tell the child you have been on the screen for 3 hours, he'll shout and say, "What rubbish, I just started," because his default mode network of thought that gives him his hourly cycle is gone. Now of course when I say hourly cycle, I am speaking about the child above the age of 12. But before that the child works in slots of 30 minutes. So from age 5 to age 12, our working rhythm moves to 1 hour. So you get the stretch. Try to get school to understand, to prepare lessons for 25 minutes, maximally 30 minutes. Beyond 25 to 30 minutes, when the child is watching the digital screen, this is especially so with fast games. For just studies, child can tolerate the screen a little longer. For fast games, fast cartoons, the dopamine doesn't come down, it goes, and also the dopamine receptors, the physiological one that helps in conceptualization, initiation, navigation, successful on conclusion, top-down control. The dopamine is in the physiological receptor, DA1. If you are too much on the dopamine with fast cartoons, you move to DA2, the repetitive, reactive, the addictive receptor. So we must not go there. So it would be safe for 40 minutes to be on online studies. It is okay. But now one does not know how much pixels will affect. So if the online study can be for 30 minutes at a time, it is much better. So schools have to make a decision on this, okay? Then the thing is, after 30 minutes, to give them a break. So school must not do endlessly for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. Now give them a break for 10 minutes, let's say. What do you do while studying and what do you do in the break? Now, if you get the child, if you put a choir rope, you know, the lanu pedura for his feet, and he's barefooted, and then he can scratch on the barefoot, with his bare feet, scratch on the lanu pedura. So any amount of friction and pressure and that kind of stimulation helps him to keep the dopamine down. There's a physiological principle in it. It involves the corticospinal tract, and it involves different it involves the glutamate that helps to overcome this dopamine drive. So that's just a physiological consideration, but it's an important thing. Similarly, if the child is given into the hands a choir ball, you know, lanu, the choir rope, small thing, balled up, and if he's encouraged to do that, that also helps in getting the dopamine effect out of the brain. What else? Then in between the studies, he must not go to the screen, he must completely switch off, go out and watch the sunlight. That is one thing, so that when you go out and watch the sunlight, our retina has certain cells that need to be activated by sunlight in order for our accommodation muscles of the eye to grow. And also there are certain cells in the retina called intrinsically photosensitive retinal cells. They also have to be active because they what light comes on the retina determines whether the child will secrete, or we ourselves will secrete, a neurochemical transmitter called GABA. And that GABA is the thing that gives us a feeling of responsibility. Now, for instance, if you take alcohol, you depress GABA, and you know how you behave when you take alcohol. That's the problem with alcohol. But when GABA is flowing, the child begins to have a empathy. That's the word I was looking for. Child begins to have an empathic attitude to work, empathic attitude to his character, empathic attitude to his sibling and to his parents. You understand? So, dopamine for salience and do-do, serotonin for check back and how did I do it, and GABA for empathy and then, you know, when children are falling asleep, GABA gets secreted, and then that's the time they think, did I do it right? Ammi, that went wrong. That's the time they want to do a little confession and get it right. So parents to be available when a child is falling asleep is an important thing. So I'm just getting you to understand what the screen effects are while the child is on online studies. So I already gave you some things. Then he must eat, she must eat fruit, crunchy, munchy fruit. That has an effect on the jaws, and also fruit has serotonin that helps ameliorate or reduce the effect of dopamine. A lot of digitally addicted children will say, I hate fruit, I can't eat fruit, things like that. Then they also must eat crunchy, munchy vegetables like carrot, beetroot. Guava is also okay. I don't know whether you can convince these young fellows to eat guava. But this crunchy, munchy vegetables and crunchy, munchy fruit in between the online studies is the way to get the dopamine back into place, you know, sort of quieter mode. So this jaw muscles doing that is also very good. Good meaning it gets our pyramidal tract, that's another voluntary muscle tract going, and in it you get a different chemical transmitter called glutamate that helps the dopamine to keep quiet, so to say. Then of course in that in-between time you can hang a cricket ball, actual leather ball is better from the, what Dada used to do for his cricket practice, hang a cricket ball from a sock, and there also have a lanu padura, the coir rope thing, barefooted, and he takes a bat and he practices the way you do for cricket practice to get the eye. You provide him, or even her for that matter. This is to take aim, and the feet are moving on the coir rope. Did you understand that? Feet are moving on the coir rope. That also has the effect of keeping the brain in good order while doing online study. So what am I pitching? Study to be 30 minutes and give a 10-minute break in between if schools can adjust to this. Now if you tell me if schools can't give a 10-minute break in between online studies, that's too bad. We have to convince the schools. Other things you can still do. While studying, them to have something under their feet, the coir rope thing under their feet, and something to tweezers and so on to keep doing this is a good thing. And then munching fruit is also a good thing. So those are some things to reduce the then few more things. No LED lights on when the child is on the online screen. Yes, I want to repeat it. All LED lights add to the blue light frequency effects on the retina, and through the retina on the brain. All blue lights, all LED lights have an effect on the retina. So for your child's study anyway, with or without online study time, when the child is studying anyway, that place should not have a LED light. Please take some of my books and read. This is Screen Smart. This is Winning the Digital War. That's a thick book. It's quite technical. Teachers and doctors should read it. This is on right learning, available on all 3 languages. This is Mom, Dad and Me and Mistake Management, because character goes wrong with the digital screen. And this is a little more technical one, Parenting Heart and Brain in an Age of Digital Domination. Okay. So now we want to get into other things besides exactly the study and the screen. So you have to not have LED lights where your child is studying. This is true for you also if you have a lot of work to do yourself. Reading with LED light is not a good habit, and every bit of LED light at home adds to sleep disturbances and adds to reduced memory. Now I know many modern homes will have a whole lot of LED light on. What to do? At least where you're studying or your child is studying, have a CFL warm. You understand CFL warm. That is the best for the eye, and the reading, and the memory, and the sleep. So all those 3 things get affected by pixel infiltration and by LED light, the blue frequency. What else can I tell you? Let me read up now from my book and suggest some things to you. All this means that we want to improve their attention depth and their attention span. And for parents, just advice by the way, if you maintain that 1 hour cycle of doing one thing at a time and not multitasking between digital screens and social media and so on, do one thing at a time for 1 hour. You don't get Alzheimer. You take away Alzheimer. You delay its onset. Also, if you write 4 A4 pages in 2 languages, let's say English and Tamil, or English and Sinhala, or Sinhala and Tamil, 2 languages, or any other language, 2 languages, you keep the writing habit on. Keep a COVID journal or something. This you as well as for your kids. Then also you delay Alzheimer as far as Alzheimer goes, and also improves memory and removes the digitizing effect on the child's brain. What else can you do? Anything physical in between online studies, before online studies, after online studies is so much better. It is a good thing, anything physical. So if you are in a confined space, I told you can hang a cricket ball and that talk, taking aim, talk. Then in between, take aim games like carom is very good if you have a table tennis table, especially with the Lanupadura down there, which will stimulate, or which will do that necessary tickling on your soul, SOL soul. That is also very good. So I'm giving you things to remove the dopaminizing or dopaminergic that comes on with too much of the pixel screen. Then somehow, though they are on online studies, you must get them to do their textbooks also. You have to do this. At least dad and mom, you have to read it with them and get them to read. Then there are other things you can do to reduce the online effect, and also to tickle some things that they may naturally like to do. Artwork, drawing work, black and white art on rough as possible paper with rough as possible pencil is the best thing. Any artwork is okay, but black and white line diagrams is the best thing. It depends on your child's art aptitude. Then pastels and black cartridge paper kind of drawing is also good. Then anything that you do like handicraft and cut and paste and chop and things like that is also good. This is what we do in our Empathic Learning Center, which we used to have every Friday at 6 p.m. When it was normal time. So, whatever that goes to move around their fingers, then of course playing ball, playing carom, making things with clay is very good. Any kind of activity, falling down in the mud and, you say in COVID time, yes, your own mud, your house, garden, grass, all that improves immunity also. So that is, and also the mechanisms of the eye, growth of the eye, all that depends on how much you play in the sunlight. So throw the ball and play catch, or throw the ball on the wall and play cricket inside the house. Yeah, you got a shock, isn't it? Yeah. Or outside the house are good activities to keep the online trouble of the screen coming on the child's brain. Then few things about sleep I think I should get on to. Yes, so you got the sewing or cutting, chopping, get them involved in cooking, all that is very good, yeah. How to get a boy involved in cooking. And every home has a problem. This 40-year-old boy who's addicted to the screen and his name is Dad. So that is also a problem. So we have to take cognizance of our behavior, because children will follow us. And you must keep an hour free of digital stuff anyway, at least 2 hours. And before I forget, after 6 p.m., keep it digital free as much as possible. Absolutely necessary. After 6 p.m., no screen. How did that sound? Terrible, isn't it? That's the time all the juicy news updates come. But as for the child, she has been online now for a lot of time during day. And in between also, once you get into online studies, you will get into online rubbish. Because that's the problem with the online screen. It asks for more. I don't want to give you too many technical details. You'll get scared about this. So I'll give you practical things that will help you immediately. So after 6 p.m., you have to cajole, coerce, plead, do something and keep them off the screen, because already during daytime they would have been 4, 5, 6 hours on the screen. Yeah, I'm repeating this. After 6 p.m., do your best to keep them off the screen. Why? After 6 p.m., melatonin begins to secrete. Melatonin is the sleep hormone. It is secreted by a little thing in the brain. I really think God is a wonderful master designer of all things. And then the child begins to want sleep by about 9 o'clock, let's say. So it is important that melatonin begins to secrete, and then when the child is falling asleep, GABA begins to secrete, and he needs that sense of falling asleep with peace. It's a good time for parents to interact with prayer or reading a book or whatever, and then they enter proper physiological sleep. 4 cycles of dream sleep, no dream sleep, that is REM sleep, non-REM sleep. Initially dreams will be a little unpleasant things, but when they go through right dream cycles, they end up in the morning feeling refreshed, happy. If they are sleep disturbed because of the screen, they end up in the morning grouchy, can't go to school, I can't do that, everything was wrong. Why? Sleep was disturbed. Why? After 6 p.m. also they were on the screen. It is that important. So please, mom, dad, you have to get them through this coaching. You have to plead with them and say, because they are online all the time, please, after 6 p.m. you have to keep it free. Okay? Then yes, so melatonin begins to work after 6 p.m. and then melatonin does a wonderful thing in the brain. We have in the brain a thing called the glymphatic system, GLYMPHATIC. For our immunity we have the lymphatic system, LYM. For the brain we have the glymphatic system, where glial cells come and remove all the excess chemicals and adjust the neurons to function in the next 24 hours well. So sleep time is even more important for your brain and memory brilliance and curricular development than your wake up time. To do a hyperbole, I pitched it a little, I'll repeat it. Your sleep time and what has to happen in the brain during sleep time for you and your child is at least as important, I would like to say more important than what you do during the day. Because if you do during the day whatever you do and you don't get your good sleep, proper physiological sleep time, then you have wasted your memory and the effort. There won't be a future projection and in your sleep. All those new synapses develop and all that, it is so important. Sleep is so important. So you can't disturb your sleep. If you are sleep disturbed, what happens is you look asleep, but you'll be jittery and the dream cycles don't happen, and you wake up in the morning grouchy and complaining, everything is not right, that is wrong, this is wrong. So what else have I got to tell you for this short talk? It's already a long talk. Maybe I should tell you about falling asleep happily. What can you do? Few other things. Every day, dad, you have to give some stretch and step for your child. The next step. Now the kids need it from dad. The next stretch, the next step. Then they begin to face the outside world with confidence. Mom makes it internally safe, daily safe. So mom gives intimacy and strength of insight. Dad gives confidence and strength for the outside. So the two working together. Okay? Yes. And under the age of 4, mom's influence is very needed, very close at hand. Dad also pitching in, and from the age of 4, of course, dad has to pitch in equally. Therefore, a mom not being at home before the age of 5 is tragedy. Sri Lanka should bring some legislation to stop our moms going away before the age of 5. Yeah. So I want to get to sleep. What would I like to tell you about sleep? A few other things, the digital screen will make them. I'll tell you this. So we have to operate from our prefrontal cortex, executive empathic pathway, initiate, navigate, a successful in conclusion, reward. Who says reward? The child himself says reward. Well done. Children must learn for the reward from within. Otherwise, you have to bribe them all the time with different other things, promising different other things. So bribery and corruption begins in the home. Yeah. So we must not do that. They must have their initiation, navigation, successful in conclusion, and doing things well. They must have it rise from within. That is our executive empathic top-down regulation. That's how God has designed us. Then we have, if the child is on the screen too much, child goes on to bottom-up regulation. What is bottom-up regulation? Anything that comes from outside, sight, sound, visuals, peers telling thrills, perils, he's waiting for that. He's driven on the thrill-peril cycle track, which is called bottom-up regulation, going through the amygdala. So too much of the screen drive them there. Then they are all for thrill, peril, and dare. We don't want them to go there, isn't it? We don't want them to go there. So you must plan the day to do that, and with these online studies and so on, not more than 30 minutes at a time, and those intermittent the intervals of no digital stimulation, and then you get the glutamate and the pyramidal track and rough touch and whatnot. I told you, chewing apples or whatever, you know, the crunchy vegetables. Carrots are excellent. Guava is also excellent. The best fibers, microfibrils, that stops heart events found in carrot, beans, and our guava, our pear. Eat them as much as you can. Yeah, that's good for the heart also. That's by the way. So I told you, don't allow the child to shift from top-down regulation to bottom-up regulation. He'll always want to do thrills and whatnot. Then of course balance the night with card games during this lockdown time, shutdown time. Anyway, any other time, even when you get back to normal, please keep time for these card games and the touchy things, you know. Less of the screen, more the brain gets brilliant. Now, if you want to ask me, don't people say you get smart with the screen, you don't get smart with the screen? Very simple. Screen begins everything. All e-learning processes, all digital games, who starts? Screen starts. And you are just a robot, your child is just a robot, child is only reacting. Child is not thinking and doing, he's just being led to do what the screen starts. So no e-learning program makes a child's brain brilliant, no digital game makes a child's brain brilliant. It is not so. So if you may want to, what about Fortnite? So you'll have to read my books, and please go to my blog, Dr.Lalith Mendis blog.worldpress.com. It has lots of stuff on digital. Anyway, I have lots of digital clips, academic ones and simple ones. Just do Dr. Lalith Mendis on the Google, Dr. Lalith Mendis plus digital, you'll get a lot of clips coming. Let me conclude with sleep. Particularly at this time and any day, observe sunrise and sunset. That helps the melatonin cycle. It also helps the growth of different organelles in the eye. There are many children have to wear spectacles, and many children get eye trouble early because they are so much on the screen and they are not doing things with sunlight. Yeah. So observe sunrise and sunset. So if you are in a air-conditioned home with a lot of curtains, please not remove the curtains, but just, you know what I mean, let sunrise and sunset come in. That is important. Begin day, begin the day with, take an egg a day, you set your insulin, egg a day. Hard-boiled egg in the morning, you set your insulin. Why is this important? When the child is on the digital games and in digital life, he's always high on cortisol. When you're high on cortisol, your immunity is low, and child will want a lot of junk food. Please stop junk food. Give them one regular meal at the proper time. No snacking in between, no sausages, this, that and the other. Do a proper home-cooked food, and meal time is very important. Family sit together, no screen and meal time, no watching around TV screens at meal time. Please sit together. If you want the child to be digitally disciplined, Dad, you have to be digitally disciplined. Meal time is meal time. All sit together, do your prayer or whatever, and then fix the time. The meal time can't go endlessly. You can't do cricket while, you know, the children are used to throwing food and running around. No. Sit in one place and say 15 minutes meal time is over, maximally 20 minutes. So training for meal is very important because that's the first resource child gets. In the morning, start with the egg. You keep your insulin down. Don't give sweets to your child. Now I need to qualify that. How shall I put it? Let's take the whole thing. A child on a lot of digital games, already cortisol driven, sweets will only make them more agitated. When they are high on cortisol with digital games, their immunity is low, vitamin D is low because they are not going out to the sunlight and so on. So please give them some vitamin D. They have to go to the sunlight. They have to play outside. Please, you have to get these things back. Maintain hourly timetable by writing out a simple timetable for the whole day. now, particularly because there's no school. Even when there is school, I used to lecture that from the time the child comes home, there has to be a timetable. This hour, this is what you do, bit of cricket, then fish tank kind of thing, gardening, home gardening, and Saubhagya, everybody growing some food, yes, everybody. So some physical activity regulated a simple timetable. Now, of course, you have to implement a strict timetable till school begins, isn't it? Even after those days, I used to say, even after the child comes from school, you have to have a timetable. Otherwise, where will he go? He will go to the screen. Yeah. Swimming is an excellent activity for body coordination and brain coordination. Yes. So maintain hourly timetable, important. Put the food time, tea time, everything into it. Write down things to do any day. Do some journaling. I already told you, if this especially for those who are approaching an age, lifelong, write 4 A4 pages in 2 languages, lifelong. Write 2 A4 pages in 2 languages. You put Alzheimer away. And handwriting is what makes children brilliant. So any amount of handwriting makes a child brilliant. Somehow get them to write stories, suggest storylines, make up stories and things like that, whatever they can write. Then also you need to get them to draw something. Somehow, you give them some story, how you went to school, something that will catch their imagination, from a famous story. I remember Charles Dickens at St. Thomas's College, so something, Oliver Twist somewhere or something, asking for Mr. Bumble, please, some more food, some little story or a more entertaining modern story. Get them to draw as much as possible, which means you might have to draw with them. That's the thing. You might have to draw with them. Then playtime is important. I already told you this carom, table tennis is an excellent thing, and especially on that Lanupadura, on either side the Lanupadura, and barefooted. So take aim, things really develop the brain and removes the online dopaminergic effect out of the child's brain. Same for you. Walk up and down every 2 hours. Use tweezers on your hands as often as possible. And before bedtime, warm cup of milk before bed, and vitamin D. These things give a better sleep. Yeah, don't allow the child to be sleep disturbed. I have already told you, please somehow stop them doing screen after 6 p.m. If you disturb your melatonin, you disturb your brilliance. God has a design, please work with it. Yes, and when you wake up in the morning, those early morning recovery time is very important for spiritual and moral effect. So when they are waking up in the morning, make it nice. No grumbles and no correction and no ticking off, no pulling out during waking up moments. Make it nice as possible. Set up the day nice as possible. Okay, so till breakfast, no nasty talk. No correction till breakfast. And I hear all the husbands are saying, that's a wonderful lecture. Yeah, till breakfast, let me have peace. Fruit in the night helps sleep. Avoid caffeine, please. Please avoid caffeine. Caffeine getting added to the digital screen stimulus is no good at all. Play classical music. So something about music. If your young fellow has 4 ears and got the earphones on, and he says, Mom, I study better when I'm listening to music, rubbish. He sits in one place longer, yes, but with music going through the ear, you don't study. You can look up the Google for Mozart effect, what it does, what it is, and so on. Whatever you study with music on, to get it out of your brain, you have to put music on. So you can't agree to this thing that playing music and studying helps studies. No. So that's that. So classical music, other times classical music develops brain tracts and connects left brain and right brain. I did not go into that. Now 70% of the population used to be Left brain meaning you do top-down regulation. 30% was that imaginative kind, who feel and see and do, the speculative kind. They were useful, they become artists and whatnot. But now with the digital screen, more are being pushed to be speculative, and the old term was right brain. Very quickly, we have 7 tracks. So we have the empathic intuitive track. Let me show how the tracks are. Empathic intuitive track, empathic relational track, and then we have the linguistic track, then we have the management planning track, then we have the kinesthetic track, audio track, and visual track right behind. So those who are kinesthetic audiovisual was that child, we said that child is emotional, that child is right brain, that's that. Those who are mostly wired up, kinesthetic, acoustic, visual. Then those who were thinking type and verbal processes, they were called left brain. Initially, the way God designed it, 70% were that the empathic, intuitive, that linguistic kind of children. They are verbal processes. The other children, those who are kinesthetic, acoustic, visual, are pictorial processes. That's okay. World needed 30% of pictorial processes, and world needed more of the verbal processes. Now what the screen has done is increased the percentage of pictorial processes maybe to more than 50%. So everybody tries to be an entertainer, musician, art, imagining. I can't do one job, I can't work on the other, work on others, I want to be on my own. That percentage has increased too much. Now that is not strictly a problem for this month, but I just told you the larger picture. So avoid about music, never use 4K TV at home. How did that sound? What do I do with the 4K TV at home? Never use 8K TV at home. If you do, you increase blue light at home, you disturb sleep, you reduce the child's memory and ability to recall. Whatever we study in the learning process, recall, application, summarizing everything together, all that is part of the learning process. Digital screen disturbs that. Then if you have problems with sleep, warm bath before sleep. Then reading a good book like Psalms a day keeps the doctor away. Never miss the thing you should do together in a family. Yes. These are some of the things I wanted to tell you about sleep. I think I have done enough, isn't it? If you have any questions, please send it to my WhatsApp number. Then if there is a second talk, I don't hope to give a second talk. I think this is enough. A school friend of mine wanted a talk on this for a school, for kids to hear. He said for parents to hear, but I wanted to make it as child friendly as possible. But when I talk, I had to, the no is no, isn't it? I had to tell truly what is not good. Please protect your sleep, is my advice to kids. Don't disturb your sleep for anything. Don't think you can play the laptop till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning and then sleep till 10 o'clock and catch up sleep. It does not happen. If you don't get your right dreams between 12:30 in the midnight and 3:30 in the morning, let's say 4 in the morning, you won't get proper sleep. Please, you can't violate sleep and get anywhere in life. What will happen is after 17, 18, you'll be saying, I'll start this course, and you'll do it for 6 months. You'll say, that's bad. Then you say, get me this course. Then you will say, nothing works for me in Sri Lanka. Please pay $1 million and get me to study somewhere else. Don't go that way. I consistently tell parents, let the first degree be in Sri Lanka. That's right, yeah. These are, you may think these are some extreme views, but nowadays after the COVID problem, you may think what Dr. Lalith Mendis said always seems sensible. I think we are coming to the end of our lecture. I'm just going through this little booklet. This is my latest. Let's be screen smart. It gives quite a lot of things together. Okay, I think that's enough. Thank you for listening. I hope this helps teachers, schools to design. You remember what I said? Design the slots in 30 minutes. Give the child 10 minutes to unwind, get the dopaminergic effect out. So don't keep LED lights on. Munch, crunch things. Keep your fingers and toes moving. That's right. That gets the digital effect out. It's always good to go out and play a little and come. I think we have got everything. And get your child to study where there is no LED light. Okay, if the roof has a LED light, let it do. You just use a table lamp with warm CFL. So for study time, that's it. Then I told you at the beginning, for online study, please use old-fashioned desktop or old-fashioned laptop, no smart screen. The pixel intensity adds to the digitizing brain effect. That's the principle. So use a less pixel intense screen. Thank you. Please, you'll help me if you send me WhatsApp requests or to my Facebook wall. Also, I did this. Ask me the questions you would like to ask. If there's a second round, I'll clarify those. And there are enough clips on this. More detail on Google. Please do. You can Google Dr. Lalith Mendis plus digital. You'll get a lot of clips. Thank you for listening.